postponed indefinitely, a new test came out, an online test that we could write. But me, I know they hear what I get coconut. I said I'm not writing. I started applying for my refund. I'm not writing. I know they write. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, my name is Couscous. If you're a returning subscriber, you are welcome. So if you want to write IELTS, this video may not be for you. But if you don't want to write IELTS, then you need to keep watching this video. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're yet to subscribe, you should do well to subscribe while learning from my videos. Don't forget to like, share, comment. Yeah, so let's get into the video. Whenever I tell people that I didn't write IELTS, so many people get to ask me questions like, what are the schools that don't take IELTS? I don't want to write IELTS. How should I go about it? Most schools in the United Kingdom usually ask for English language proficiency test certificates, and it could either be IELTS or TOEFL or any other test that they may require. And when it has to do with Ivy League schools, schools within the Russell group of schools, what do I mean? I mean schools that are highly ranked in UK. Those schools usually ask for IELTS from especially Africans, Nigerians, and people from other developing countries. And if you don't want to write IELTS, there are so many things that you can do. So in this video, that's basically what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to tell you how you can avoid writing IELTS if you don't want to. If you don't want to write IELTS, then the very first thing I'm going to tell you is that you should choose UK universities that do not require IELTS as a precondition for their admission. What do I mean? There are so many schools that, providing English language proficiency certificates is not a requirement, and even if it is optional. So you can as well just go straight and browse for schools that do not require IELTS in their admissions, and then you can just select the schools there based on the courses, right? That one is very simple. Don't ask me to tell you which schools, because you're indirectly asking me to go and research. There are over 1,000 schools in UK, and you don't expect me to go and start searching through 1,001 schools for you. But what am I trying to say? I'm just saying the very first thing you should do is to select an institution that will not require English language certification or proficiency for your admission. So let's assume that you've already applied to a school that requires IELTS, especially when it has to do with top tier universities, schools in the Russell group of schools like Queen Mary University of London, Oxford, Cambridge, a list of other universities. And these universities usually do not waive their IELTS requirement. So it is either you go for the schools that outrightly waive or outrightly do not require IELTS, or you write IELTS.
You write IELTS. You write IELTS.
If you want a top tier school. If you want a highly ranked university, you may likely write English language tests. But if you've already applied and you now find out that, oh, I don't think I want to write English language tests, then I'm going to give you some tips that you can use to avoid that. Okay. The very first tip is that most of these schools always have alternative requirements. The first thing they will tell you is you have to submit English language tests for so and so score and all of that. But if you read down that page or the website, you would find out that they have alternative requirements. They can say that if you already have a master's degree, then they can use that. If you already have a master's degree in the UK, if you already have a master's degree in US or in Canada or any of the countries that they do not need English language requirements. They can also say that if you finished school in the last 5 years, not 5 years. So if you finish your O-level or high school or secondary school, as the case may be in Nigeria, in the last 5 years, and that your O-level exams, as WAEC or NECO for Nigerians, and the equivalent for other people. If you finished in the last 5 years and you have good grades, especially in English, they always put like either a B grade or a C grade, depending on the level of proficiency they require from you. They will always ask you that, okay, you can upload your WAEC certificate as an alternative requirement, But take note that it is actually very limiting, because for the fact that they have this alternative requirement does not mean it's automatic. It has to meet the requirements. Some schools will say 4 years ago, some will say 5 years ago. So you must have finished your WAEC 5 years ago. And trust me, if you're doing a course that is 6 years in the undergraduate studies, then you automatically do not meet that requirement. So, but there are always other ones. Another one could be that you should provide a letter from the registrar of your institution where you did your undergraduate degree. That is actually the one I used. So when I said I did not write IELTS, that was the one I used, because I know obviously my WAEC was past 5 years ago. So what happened was I had actually registered for IELTS with the British Council. I paid, I did everything. I was even I bought books, videos and everything that I was, doing the revision towards the test. COVID happened and all the test centers had closed and the test was postponed indefinitely. Was that a good thing? You will find out. So after I had gotten my admission conditional offer, I was asked to fulfill my English language requirements, and I was waiting for the British Council to open for tests, and it was postponed indefinitely. So I sent an email to my school after I'd seen that there could be, in fact, there was no alternative requirement on their website. There was none. But then my time was going. I needed to provide an unconditional offer of admission to Chevening so that I could get a final award letter, and time was going. So I wrote to Queen Mary University admissions unit explaining my plight and asking them to give me an alternative way to meet that condition, and they replied me that I'm sorry, they cannot do anything. You just have to write your IELTS. If IELTS has been postponed in your country, you have to wait until it is open. And I'm like, guys, I need to submit this thing. I have a deadline. So it's like we just kept on going back and forth and all of that. After they saw how persistent I was, because guys, the very first time they will say no, obviously they're going to say no, especially if it's in a top tier university. Other schools will waive it for you, trust me. Other schools, any school out there probably that are looking for students, they are going to waive it. They'll ask you to submit your WAEC certificate, and that's it. Before you know it, you've met your requirement. But some schools are just stubborn, like they are proud, like they like to raise their shoulders, and that's because they are not looking for students. You're the one that needs them. Like, these schools are top tier, right? So they always look for ways to eliminate applicants because they have limited slots for people. So they're always looking for ways to eliminate. Don't be that person that they are going to eliminate. Okay, so what I did was I was persistent. I kept on sending them emails and explaining to them that, guys, it is not my fault that IELTS has been postponed indefinitely. I sent them my degree certificate. Just check out my transcripts, they are in good order. Check out my degree, I made it 2-1, check it out, it's in good order. And everything, I even went ahead to tell them that, guys, I made a first class in Nigerian law school. Check me out. I know how to speak English. And then they still rejected all of that too. I still sent another email, and then what happened was, after a long time, after some weeks, they now told me, okay, Kuseme, we can actually accept a letter from the registrar of your institution that you did your undergraduate degree, asserting that your studies were conducted totally in English and that you have good proficiency in English, both writing and in speaking. I was like, is that what you guys are saying? Before you know it, that day, I contacted my university. That's another. I already told you guys the drama that happened while I was trying to get that letter. But long and short of the story is that I got that letter from my registrar. I sent it to Queen Mary, and they still told me that they are going to give it to the admissions unit to review. So what am I saying? I'm only saying that even if there are alternative requirements, it is not automatic. It doesn't mean that once you provide that they will do it for you. It means you have to be tenacious. You have to, keep on explaining to them why you think they should take you without an English language test certificate, okay? Another of my colleagues that went to University of Warwick, drama. Obviously, she was going to write IELTS, but because it was postponed indefinitely, Warwick told her to write an essay, I think 3,000 or 5,000 words essay. They gave her a question, told her to write. They still did interview on top just to get to know that, she was able to communicate efficiently in English. And I think she did like 2 interviews, wrote like an essay and all of that. So guys, do you still want to avoid writing IELTS? Either you choose the easy way out, or you either write or you go through what we all went through. So the easy way out is, even if you've applied to schools that you think need IELTS, it's not too late to just go and start researching for other schools that do not need that, and then you just apply to them, and before you know it, they'll tell you, can you provide us with your WAEC certificate? And you'll be like, yes. You quickly send your WAEC certificate or your NECO or the one that you use for your O level, and that is fine. But if you insist that you want to go to an Ivy League, if you insist that you want to go to a Russell group of school, of which Queen Mary is one, you have to do what I just said. Get ready to either write an essay or to get a letter from the registrar of your institution, or to write IELTS. IELTS is not actually difficult. It's something that once you give yourself 1 month to practice, depending on the score that they need 8.0, 7.5, 9 points, depending on the score that they need, you can always get it. And also the equivalent that they always take is also determined on the score. If they need something like 5 points, of course they are going to take a WAEC certificate that you scored a C for English. But if once you see 7.5, in fact once you see 7, IELTS requirement of 7, 7.5, 8, forget it. They're not going to take WAEC. They're not going to take WAEC. They're not going to take NECO. So it's either going to be that they're going to ask you to write any other simpler English language test, because I remember that they also told me to write an alternative English language test. When it was postponed indefinitely, a new test came out, an online test that we could write. But me, I know they hear what I get coconut. I said I'm not writing. I started applying for my refund. I'm not writing. I know they write. So what other of my colleagues did that was really simple for them was the letter from the registrar asserting that you did your undergraduate degrees totally in English, your courses were conducted, your tests, your exams were all conducted in English, and that you have good proficiency in English, both in writing and in speaking. That letter, some of my colleagues actually attached it to their application, like when they were applying to school. So even if you've already applied, to a school that needs IELTS, you can do what I did. But if you're yet to, and probably you're looking forward to applying to all these top schools, then you can do that, because that will be easier. And then the letter should also state that you should be exempt from an English language test certificate, proficiency, whatever it is. So that's what happened. So guys, I hope you learned something from this video. If you like this video, if you've learned something, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel, and also don't forget to share this video to people you know that need this help. And before I go, let me just say one thing: do not sacrifice a good institution. Do not sacrifice a reputable institution on the altar of I don't want to write IELTS. It's actually based on what you want, and it will work for you. Thank you so much for staying tuned. I hope you enjoyed this video. Okay guys, do well to keep watching other videos of mine. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you in my other videos. Bye bye. So IELTS is International English Language Test System, Abby. What?
He wants to pass.
Oh my god. Sorry.
No problem.